Hey guys, I'm outside of Acoustic Vibes Music in Tempe, Arizona, and we're going to go inside and we're going to look at some Taylors. All right, here we go.
So that is the Grand Auditorium, and the next shape that I'd like to call your attention to is the Grand Symphony. Any model that ends in a 6, like this 816 or 716, 616, 416 is the Grand Symphony. The Grand Symphonies, we made a change to the design this year because they're still confusing to us Taylor guys from across the room. They look a lot like a Grand Auditorium. But if you want to hold that one up real quick for them. Sure. We talk about the shortest distance across a guitar's top or soundboard as its waist, right? Looks like a waist here. The Grand Symphony, the waist is pushed up and it's wider. And we can see that the hips of the lower bout on compared to Bernie's Grand Auditorium have a little bit more of a flare in them. There's a very slight body dimensional difference. It's about 3/8 of an inch wider across the bottom, but it's really more about taking Bernie's Grand Auditorium, kind of squashing it and reforming it, making that waist higher and wider. And what that's going to do is for players like myself who want a little bit more volume, a little bit more bottom end, but are willing to put in the energy to get that bigger top excited, to get that shape more excited. The Grand Symphony is strung with mediums as compared to the lights that we just met on the Grand Auditorium, and that's helping the guitar shape do what it needs to do, which is it's going to ask for more energy to give you the benefit, which is more volume and more bass response.
Is the depth the same?
The depth is the same. So this is the Grand Symphony. The third shape is different in that not only does it have a much tighter waist, right, a smaller lower bout, a smaller upper bout, but it comes standard short scale. This is 24 7/8 inches between the nut and the saddle. On all 4 other shapes, it is 25 1/2. Those might sound familiar because 24 7/8 here is Gibson scale, and 25 1/2 is Fender scale. So I'm going to hand Bernie this Grand Concert. This not only has the smallest body dimension, it has a shallower body depth, right? And that's going to give it some superpowers. So for everybody that's been waiting for a model, if you play with the tips of your fingers, a super light gauge pick, you're just kind of a quiet player, mellow player, this guitar will automatically be louder for you. And that's true of all guitars. If you have a shallower body depth and a smaller body dimension, it doesn't matter if Taylor or Martin or Gibson makes it, it's going to perform better for you with your lighter touch. So the short scale, from an ergonomic standpoint, we talk with a lot of people that have been golfing their whole life and they have repetitive motion injuries, bad shoulders, hands, etc. Short scale is going to allow Bernie's fretting arm to be, every fret's going to be just a little bit shorter, the distance between 24 7/8 and 25 1/2. So his fretting arm is going to be a little bit closer to his body, right? And we'll meet a 12 fret version of this very guitar in just a moment, but this is the Grand Concert. Any model that ends in a 2, 312, 412, 512, 812 is this shape. So most Grand Concerts that are USA made have a 12 fret little brother or sister. I'm holding an 812 CE 12 fret. This is the 12 fret version of the 14 fret 812 that Bernie has over there. A lot of people ask why we use a traditional slotted peg head on the 12 fret models, and that is really a tip of the hat to history. Martin has been making 12 fret guitars for eons, longer than us. We've actually been doing steel string 12 frets for about 6-7 years now. They're wildly popular, and this is a tip of the hat to history, though. This is something that comes from product development, and they wanted to make a 12 fret guitar, and they wanted to make it with a more traditional peg head. You can order in the custom shop. We do make 12 fret guitars with standard peg heads like the one you see on Bernie's 812 over there. A lot of people are scared of these tuners because for some reason they're convinced that they can't change the strings on this type of peg head or tuner. In the case of Bernie's 812 there's a lot of handwork. They have to make that armrest, and you can see it here on the this is the full-blooded armrest on the 914 CE. This is an immense amount of handwork here that you see here. movie coming out. It'll be uploaded, I believe, to our YouTube channel, and you can stream a trailer of it right now on our website, called The Ebony Project. If you're familiar with Bob's really, really tough, really nasty, awful, dirty, terrible work in Cameroon, this is something that is unbelievably inspirational, and to be able to spend time and hear about his efforts there. We'll all have a chance to watch a film that is really about the people that helped him do this. It's not about Bob went down and saved Cameroon from certain disaster. It's told from a perspective of how hard the effort to save ebony has been, or to preserve ebony. There's a lot of ebony coming into Taylor right now. So anyway, thanks for coming. Let's play some B-class guitars. Any other questions I missed, I'd be happy to answer. Me and Bernie will be hanging out. Catherine, Jeff,
Phil.
Everybody.
Phil as well, still here.
Phil's here. Thank you for hanging out, Phil. Let's give Bernie a round of applause. We got a lot of chairs. We got a lot of people. We have a lot of room in other areas of the store. I would encourage you to grab a guitar, and if I can answer questions, I will. But do spread out, and we'll take some of these chairs away too.
And the guitars are in there.
Now, is that the 12-string 14 fret? Sounds good.